little bit about your co-host of this event, Rich.
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely, Nathan. So this is Josh Wiesler. He is a real estate investor as well as a coach. He's a financial and more of a mind shift coach and a mindset coach. And I'm not doing it any justice at all. He helps people improve themselves so they improve their businesses and their personal life. And I know I'm butchering that up, and I know he's going to be able to say a lot better, more about that. But I've known Josh now for almost 2 years, and every time I meet Josh, I walk away a better person. And it's not for an intentional, like he's trying to make me a better person. It's just he always rubs something off on me that I keep around to make me better. And I am very grateful and so full of gratitude to have known Josh over these last 2 years. And without Josh's help and guidance along the way with putting this conference on, we wouldn't be putting a conference on. So I had thought about putting the conference on December of last year, and I was talking to kind of Josh offline and said, yeah, I really want to do this. And he's like, let's reach out, let's do it. So without him, it would have just been one of those, I'm going to do it someday kind of thing. But the help and guidance and assistance from Josh has made this a real thing that we are so super excited about. But it's not about me, it's about Josh. So here is Josh Wiesler.
What's up, Josh? How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a good morning. How can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Fantastic. All right. Got the background rolling.
Love the background. I was going to say, love the background.
Went and found it. So, yeah, man. No, Nathan, I greatly appreciate you giving kind of everybody a taste of what our event is going to look like with our speakers. And then as well, this is one of those, Zig Ziglar talks about, you get what you want when you help enough other people get what they want. And this is, for me, a perfect example of that. Rich had mentioned. So for me, I'm a transformational coach. We're a business coach for higher performing small business owners. And I'm really big on helping people do, as Rich just said, the things that they think, someday they'll get to. And he mentioned this in passing, and I know that I enjoy speaking up in front of stage and having an event like this. We've never had one in St. Louis. So he mentioned it in passing, and it goes, that light bulb went off of like, hey, this is a synergistic thing with what you are doing and what you want to do. And, your skill set can help him do this transformation to have this event that he's never had. And so it was just kind of divine intervention you look at. And I know we've both grown immensely over these past couple months and just like hosting this event and promoting it and learning. And I'm sitting here watching, I kind of hijack the conversation. I'm sitting here watching you, Rich, Nathan, Christina Aguilera, Lucas come on, all the people that I consider, friends and allies in our business, and just immense gratitude for everything that's happening with this. It's really amazing.
Yeah, well, the audience today is getting tremendous amount of value. It's saying, one of the comments online real quick, just so everybody knows, so we can make sure that this gets cleared up. It says, can we get a link to sign up for the page in the chat? And yes, the answer to that question is yes. We will get you a link in the chat in just a minute for you to be able to go to g2free.com. That's www.g2free.com, so that you can sign up, click the button, add the promo code Nathan. That still shocks me that you guys were able to do that for my audience, but Nathan, and you'll be able to get 50% off on your tickets. Now, back to you, Josh. I want to know some information from my audience's perspective and from my own personal perspective. So I'm going to ask you, because we're friends, and so I get to ask you a little bit deeper questions. What does it mean to be personally aware?
Oh, wow. I was not expecting a question like that. All right. So for me, personally aware, I really do love this question. Personally aware, Lucas kind of touched on it a little bit. When we talk about freedom, this is where, for me, personal awareness means, do you really understand what is motivating you and what is actually going to be freedom for you, and what do you really want your life to look like, and what do you have that is a habit for you that is keeping you from experiencing that? It's just a habit. I'll be speaking at the event about like your relationship with adversity and fear and how it's actually given a bad rap, and we approach it as something we don't want. But in reality, it's actually the thing that will get us to where we want to go. And you develop that personal awareness of what's important to you. You develop that personal awareness of the support systems you need, where you need to change, all through those processes of handling and like going through that adversity piece. So for me, that it's very important. Personal awareness, man, I could talk on that thing for probably an hour and a half, right? But yeah, it's really, really coming to terms with who you are, how you want your life to look, how you want to show up in the events in life. And again, we're not all going to be perfect. It's going to be a process over time, but it's that continual. I look at business and I look at everything that we do as personal development, whether it's your business, whether it's your personal relationships, your kids. Like those are the three areas that are really gonna show those things for you. I hope that answered your question. Did I give?
For
Did I give
sure. I mean, honestly, anybody who does anything in life, before I got on this event today, there's a sense of fear. There's a sense of, oh my gosh, I don't want to mess this up. I want this to go well. There's that sense of, in complete transparency, there's that, did I do the right thing kind of thought process that runs through your head. But then after you get into it and you start doing it, that's one of the things I learned from you is after you take the action, that fear goes away. That fear becomes now your passion, which is the next question that I have for you, which is, can you discuss with our audience and help everybody understand how passion helps you reach your full potential?
That's great. All right. So I do remember, just taking it back a little bit, I remember I had a mentor back in the day, actually ended up being a con man. And, we talk about failures in the industry and, you learn through failing. Got connected with this guy. And one of the things he said to me, really that I did take to heart was he called me out for having no passion in my life and not being passionate about what I was doing. This was, over a decade ago. And so, and can you ask the question again, just so I can tie it again?
Really quick? Can you discuss with our audience and share with me kind of just how passion helps you reach your full potential?
That's right. Okay. So for me, I kind of went on a journey after that to like figure out what I love. We tie it back to that personal awareness. If you're not personally aware of what you're really wanting to do in life, you're gonna go with the wind. And I did that for years because my partner Grant in our coaching company, he talks a lot about your life beliefs and where you're passionate about, where you're excited, how you want to show up, because those will tie into what you're gonna end up being really good at. I think they did a study. I can't name the university, but they showed it's not necessarily, it was kind of like swimmers. They determined that swimmers weren't swimmers because they worked really hard at being swimmers. They had a natural talent and inclination genetically to be like that body type. And then as they go through it, they realize they get more and more and more ingrained in it and become more passionate about it. It's the same thing with real estate. It's the same way with business. You're going to become more passionate as you continue to recommit to the business and the life that you want. And you only do that through your adversity, and you do that through going outside of your comfort zone and facing or addressing those fears. Your passion starts coming through when you connect. Lucas made a great comment about it around your vision. If your vision is solid, and so like a great example is this event with Rich and I, right? So we had the commitment we made, and multiple people have talked about how this is a passion project for Rich and me. It's a labor of love for Rich. It's a labor of love for me. We're passionate about it. And the commitment you make in the beginning is just to do it. I want to get the experience of having this. That means I'm willing to take whatever comes into play to make it happen, including the adversity, including those other things that are going to build our skills and give us the experience to make this event happen, and have the next one be more effective. I've had multiple people already ask me like, hey, what have you learned? Like, what's the biggest learning lesson you've taken from this already? Well, it's where our failures have come from. Our marketing process and our we've been learning that on this event, like how to have an event, how to market it, how to do all these things, because we didn't know out of the gate, right? It was just, we had an idea, we had a vision, and we know we were going to make it work, whatever that took. Does that make sense?
Well, and you can definitely see that in some of the things that you guys are doing as we get closer and closer to the event, right? That's one of the things that successful people do that unsuccessful people never do, and that's called make adjustments. make adjustments. We have to make adjustments to
Right.
achieve the things that we want to achieve.
Yeah, we're real big. A couple different concepts for us that we really lean into is one is reciprocation. So as you can see through like our speakers and events, they're not doing this with the anticipation they're going to make a ton of money off of this. They're actually doing this out of serving and paying it forward to the next people. And for us, it's reciprocation. So they're getting a piece out of this. They're getting fulfillment. They're going to be able to talk a little bit about what they've got going on, and they'll obviously put people in their funnels, whatever it is, but that's not the main intention. And so we're working off of reciprocation. And the adjustment piece that we talk about is our like we take concepts, we take plans, and then we make actions out of it. And when you talk to investors normally or business owners, it's like, hey, how are you going to increase your lead generation? How are you going to do this better? We go straight into the tactics. And so we need to architect a little more. But as you talked about with the review and pivot, what ultimately happens is they go into the tactical, we execute the tactical for a little bit, and it doesn't have the success we expect, and then we give up on it. Either I'm not good enough or whatever that mental junk you're dealing with, that's what gets you stuck and makes you quit, as opposed to you hit that wall of adversity and you have to reanalyze your concept. You have to go back to your plan. You have to readdress your strategy, and you got to make pivots. And that's what, we've been going through that for the past 6 months with this. And it's amazing. And the event's going to be great. And like, that's what we're committed to. And through that piece of reciprocation, we have people that are coming out that are like, hey, like Nathan, you are an amazing example. We've had some great conversations, and it's like, hey, I want to help you guys with this because I know it also will help me and the people that I serve. That's what this business is. Like, personal development is without a doubt ingrained in business and business development, if you really look at it that way.
Yeah, and my audience knows this about me too, because I run a live cast pretty much every Friday. As long as I'm not on vacation or something else going on, I do a live cast literally every Friday at noon. And what's the biggest difference between, I think, the value that I provide and a lot of other people that are out there is that I'm not asking for your email address to join my live cast. I'm not asking for your email address to be a part of this live event today. All we said was, hey, come get some free information. Learn from the people who are going to be doing this at the event. You don't need to sign up, give up, pay up, do up. You just get free value that's given to you because we care. And again, we as a team, we as a Rich, Josh is the gateway to freedom, and myself, we want more for you than we could ever possibly want from you guys. So thank you very much as my audience for being on the show. I want to ask this question, Josh, because this is what you do. And the question is, what's the difference between doing what you want and doing what you're good at, since you're a coach? What's the biggest difference between doing what you want and doing what you're good at? I'm asking Josh the tough questions, guys, in my audience, because I know him personally, so I can be a little bit more direct about it.
Yeah. Nathan gives me the gut punches every so often. So the difference for me between what you want and what you're good at, there are a lot of things in life that you will be good at that you won't necessarily be great at. It's a natural talent, but unless you want to do it, you're not going to go out and seek opportunities to do it.
For sure. For sure. And sometimes the things that we want, we haven't learned all of the skills yet, right? So that's a big deal, is that, for those in my audience that are learning real estate, you're learning how to do small multifamily real estate, or maybe there's a different avenue and you're just utilizing some of the content to get better at some of the things you're doing in real estate. Sometimes it's okay to not be good at something, but it be something that you want, that you're developing a skill in. Would you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, and that was the next piece I was going to touch on after I thought about it for another second, is you can want to do something amazingly, and there will be a roadblock, a mental roadblock. It's like, man, I just can't get there. I can't force myself to do it. I know it will work in my business. That's a mindset piece where you've got to work through. And by working through that, you will get good at it, and it will be tied into what you want. It's going to end up being great. It's going to be one of your greatest assets. It's just a matter of getting over that hump of the roadblock that's stopping you from doing it. And all it means, the fear, the resistance, that block, all it means is that you care about what you're doing. However, when we get stuck, it's normally because we attach it to our self-worth. We attach it to how we show up as a human. We attach it to who we are as a person, as opposed to just say, hey, there's something here that I can learn and grow with, and that will get me to where I want to be. It's just a different
Awesome.
perspective shift.
For sure. And that's why people need a coach. That's why you get a coach, is so that you can get to that place that you want to get to, and also build the skills that you want to build along the way, because it's going to be tough and you're not going to be able to sit there and do it on your own. There's no motivation enough to hold an undisciplined person accountable. Zero. There's no motivation enough to hold an undisciplined person accountable.
Definitely true. And coaches, we can't make you do anything. What we really do, for me, how I look at it is, I look at it as kind of like satellites. What is happening for most people is you've got a roadblock, you've got a blind spot is what's happening. Rich, you talked about it with your critical thinking the other day at your event or at your RIA. You've got a blind spot, and your blind spot was designed directly from you. So you have trouble. You can't see it normally. And so how satellites work on the planet, if you're a flat earther, that's not going to resonate. But as a planet, satellites, Rich is dying. Satellites can only see a portion of the planet. They have a specific view that they can see. How they see the other side of the planet and connect those communications is they bounce off of other satellites to get a different perspective. That's what coaches are. That's what your team can be. That's what your support system will be. They're going to help you see the places where you've got habits and you've got mental processes that stop you from succeeding in a certain way to keep you safe. All it's doing is keeping you within what is known. That's where the phrase, get outside your comfort zone happens. You're stuck in a blind spot. That's really all it is. And so that fear is an indicator of where that blind spot is operating, and lean into it. You're going to build the skill set that's going to take you to the other side of where you feel blocked.
Gosh, that's so good, guys. If you're not getting anything out of today's event, you don't have a pulse. Like, this, just all I could say is that these guys are delivering nugget after nugget, wisdom after wisdom. They know they only had 20 minutes, and so they were taking the time. They prepped their work, and they're just delivering like rock stars today. Thank you for that, Josh. That piece of wisdom, that is excellent and properly worded and said. I couldn't have said it ever any that articulate. That was incredible.
I
Rich,
really appreciate that.
Question for you. Why do people need to go and listen to Josh at the Gateway to Freedom event coming up?
Oh, I was going to ask Josh that too. Why should, no, I'm joking. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, if you're just now joining and you don't know, I mean, Josh is going to knock your socks off. He's going to give you some insights to yourself, to your business, to how you can do things better, how you can become a better person, period. But if you've been listening this whole time, then I think that question answers itself. But if you just jumped on, Josh is the real deal. I know I've said that for a few people here now, but it's real. It's, part of the reason why we've asked these specific 17 people to join us is they are the real deal. We're not putting any shaman up in front of you. We're not putting any fakesters out there, any hucksters. Nobody's going to try to sell you any snake oil. But Josh is going to show you some ways that you can better yourself in your business, and better your business. Specifically, Josh, tell everybody what your topic's going to be.
Yeah, so it's going to be around how your relationship with adversity and fear, and tying this all kind of in together with that topic. Everyone on this call, everyone that's going to attend, everyone in business has these adversities. And a lot of times we all think it's individual to us. Nobody understands my process. Nobody understands my problems. Nobody understands this. And that's true. Nobody really understands the specifics of your problem. However, the underlying roots of your problems are all going to normally be the same. There's only a set amount in the world that happens, and it comes from either a mindset, it comes from a relationship, it comes from whatever the underlying cause is, and you got to solve that cause. And if you're anywhere in your business and you're experiencing some resistance, some blockage, some like, hey, this feels like it's not good enough, there is going to be someone on this panel that is going to be able to help you specifically. And if you have that problem, come to the event, talk to me specifically, and I'll tell you who you need to talk to. Because whether it's, hey, I have financing issues, we can talk to the subject to and the creative guys and Frank Rizika. And we can, like, if you have a mindset problem, we can have a conversation with Sean McCloskey, Mike Kitko, myself, Kevin Duragi. If it's networking, Kevin. If it's building a team, as you heard with Lucas, like, any obstacle you are facing in your business, if you do not want that solved, don't attend our event. If you want to get a relationship and you want to get more information on how to solve those problems and move through them and move to the next level in your business, you need to be at our event, without a doubt. And with this promo, if you don't sign up today and you're on this call and that any of that hit with you, we'll see you at next year's, because you're going to be in the same spot.
Yeah, that's called an IQ test, right? Like we throw those out every once in a while as business owners just to test the marketplace and see, okay, what type of IQ are we dealing with right here?
And that shows you who you work with. Like,
yes,
there's nothing wrong with it. There's where everyone is at is exactly where they need to be in their process. We're all popcorn, man. We're all going to pop at different times in our process based on the heat and the adversity we go through and how we handle that. So
I guess, Josh, one of the last questions I'll have, and then I'll open it up to some of the people that are on the live cast here for questions. But have you ever worked with a coach, and what did you learn from the process of working with a coach?
Yeah, I worked with a coach, one of our speakers, actually, Mike Kiko. I've worked with a bunch of different coaches, anywhere from mindset coach, some personal development coach. My partner, Grant, started off as one of my coaches. And what I learned is through those relationships, they are mirrors, they are reflections. Again, they are one of my satellites to help me navigate my blind spots, depending on what that blind spot is at the time. So I've got a healer, I call her, Nancy, who's amazing. I coached with Mike Kiko. One of the things I really learned with Mike Kiko, so I joined his group, and I learned how I can provide value to people that I thought were extremely more successful than me. And that has been huge, especially for a lot of people that walk around with feelings of inadequacy or insignificance. It's because we haven't found where our value is for ourselves and knowing what we're really good at and what we're passionate about. And as you start leaning into that, you realize, those other people will start reflecting where that value is for them, because you'll start attracting different people. And so I don't know if that answered your question fully, but I kind of went on a tangent there. But
no, it's perfect.
Yeah. So really, for me, and I'll just go off on this tangent, like the coaches are a necessity for me, and part, as Luke talked about, they're part of your power team. Like they're going to be the people that are a outside view of your life and can give you if they do their job, whoever, but they can give you an unbiased look at your experience and what you're helping or what you're experiencing, and help you find that blind spot that you're operating from if you feel it's not going the way you want it to go.
For sure. Those blind spots are important things to understand about ourselves. So there's a lot of people online right now. Every time we have an emotional response to that, back to that feeling that we had, that when we finally felt successful, had that first feeling of joy in our life where we knew that we accomplished something of great value, that's called the freedom feeling. And so I've asked you online, if you're having that feeling anywhere that the speakers are sharing, and you get that feeling to come back, type the word freedom. And that's to help you understand what the feeling's going to be like at the event when you go to the Gateway of Freedom event that's coming up here on November 4th and 5th. And Rich and Josh, for those that are just joining us right now, why don't you tell them a little bit about the special promotion that you and Rich put together for those that are watching this live cast or attending this live cast on replay in the next couple of hours?
Yeah, definitely. So for the next 24 hours, and what I want to tie in here is that feeling of freedom, Nathan, is very huge, because in order for you to feel and experience freedom in your life, you have to know what it feels like. Otherwise, you're not gonna connect it to that vision, and it's not gonna be strong enough to get you through the adversity you're gonna feel that's gonna want to make you quit. And so this is where you've got to find out what freedom looks like for you as well. There's a great book called Drive for Sales from Woody Woodward, and it talks all about motivations and your feelings around this. And it could be anything from like, hey, freedom for me is having the lifestyle I want. Freedom for me is doing the things with the people that I love in my relationships. Freedom for me looks like having systems, as you heard from Christina, having systems in place to where I can do what I want when I want. For me, freedom is being in an environment and creating things that validate me on a daily basis. And because that's where my growth has happened. And then the last one is where your executives, where it's like freedom for me is just control of everything and the money to have it. And it's almost like a video game. And so we all have these different motivations. Finding yourself, what is freedom for you and what it feels like in those moments allows you to craft what your future looks like in freedom, if that makes sense. Because if you're crafting something and it's not going to feel like freedom because you don't know what freedom feels like, then you're throwing darts at a dartboard with a sheet over the front of it, hoping that you're going to hit the bullseye. It's not going to happen for me, in my experience, and the people and the business owners I work with. So,
sure.
And with all that being said, come to our event and find out what that looks like. And right now you've got a code. If you put the code Nathan in when you go to the events or the event sign out screen and the ticket purchasing screen, you're going to get 50% off of your ticket. Again, like this is already
I'm still shocked.
This ticket price, like we priced against other people. We've priced against the market. We priced against the normally these happen on the coast. This price, even there's a couple boot camps that happen in St. Louis. We are a tenth of that price to begin with. And then we just gave you 50% off as well. Like, again, and this is why people say this is a labor of love for us. This right now, this first year and getting this done for St. Louis, this is not a super huge moneymaker. This is a passion project for us. Like getting this done and getting people in the seats to grow the event so that we can have these year over year in St. Louis.
Yeah.
One of the questions that came in for both of you, and I'll let Rich start off with the answer, and then Josh, you can fill in any gaps. What is some of the value outside of the speakers that you get from purchasing tickets? And can you kind of explain the tickets and the pricing and all that kind of stuff to everybody?
Yeah. So the value is in more than just coming to see the speakers, right? Because I've had some people walk up to me and say, "Hey, why should I buy a ticket? I know every single one of those speakers. I could call them anytime and talk to them." Yep, absolutely. But I guarantee you're not going to know every single one of the people in that room, and the networking opportunities and the potential business opportunities and the learning opportunities, not just from the speakers, but the people that are there as well. So, and they weren't saying it. And the person who mentioned that to me wasn't saying it in a combative way. They were kind of joking about it. I think, matter of fact, I think they've already bought their ticket, but it brought to mind, my front of my mind that people might be thinking that. But the value in these events are more than just the speakers that are on stage. Yeah, there's a huge amount of value there. But the other opportunities that present themselves in networking with people you've never met before, or rekindling relationships that maybe you let die throughout the years, or whatever, you never know who's sitting next to you. Maybe it might be your next business partner. Heck, it might be your next partner. It might be your next. I don't know. You might be sitting next to your next your next wife or husband. I don't know.
That's good too. Yeah, and that's it too, especially for me. Like your net worth is your network. The not just seeing the speakers education wise, but building the relationships in the room and investing in yourself in your education. When you put money down, it's not a matter of it's a cost. It is an investment in yourself and your belief that you are going to take the necessary actions to move forward. One of the things I coached with another company that we would train anybody, and Christina mentioned, it's like the goal is to go in with an intention of this. I'm going to find one thing that is going to elevate my business. Don't go into this thinking you're going to solve all of your business problems and it's going to be a magic bullet. If you have that if you have that mentality, go to the event and then come talk to me and I'll help you with it.
For sure. And just to capitalize on that, the special promotion code, it's just a special promotion code. We're doing this 24-hour period. Right. It is not like an indication of a fire sale or anything like that at all. Not at all. It's just a special thing we're doing for you guys, you and your audience, Nathan, and anybody that spent time jumping on this live today.
Well, I'm still shocked by that. We got 2 minutes left, and Josh, you've shared a little bit about what freedom meant to you. Why don't you tell everybody what their attendance at this conference means to you?
So everyone's attendance at this conference for me is, again, I talked about it earlier, freedom. It's validation that, Rich and I were able to come together through this divine intervention, and really craft something that is going to serve and is bigger than both of us. That's really what this has become. Like, we didn't anticipate the amount of talent that we were going to recruit. It actually became more and overwhelming. Like, and Nathan, you're familiar, we've got people that are like, hey, I want to speak, and we're like, we're over the thing. Like, and just a culmination, people attending this event, a culmination of really just the power that we as humans have to impact other people's lives.
That's awesome. Thank you very much for attending with us, Josh. And
Yeah.
don't forget, hang on till the end of the show. We'll bring you back, and we'll close out the show with you and Rich together as co-hosts of this event. All right.